Hey guys, it's Slacker here, and welcome back to a brand new series of NCAA Football 14. Yes, that is a 360 game, and yes, I still play it. It has been a while since I've done a new series, and a friend of mine reached out and wanted to do an online dynasty together. I love doing collaborations with other content creators, and I know this will be a lot of fun. I want this series to be a little bit different than most of my other series. I'm trying to take my channel to a new level, so I want you to comment down below on this series and let me know what you do and don't like. Now you may be asking yourself who it might be. Well, it's... If you stayed to find out, it is my friend JOHNJAKE Gaming. He does a lot of football content like mine, and we thought it would be an awesome idea to do a dynasty together. His YouTube channel is up on the screen now, so make sure you go check out his channel, see some of his videos, like some of his videos, let him know that you came from my channel. If you missed that, his channel will be at the end of the video in one of the cards, and it'll also be down below in the comments section. So let's jump into it. If you saw my last episode, you know who we picked, but I thought I would go ahead and show you what we were doing. Basically, we were trying to take a one-star team and make them dominant. So it was down to a few schools, and I basically picked it just basically based on how awesome I thought their uniforms looked, how awesome their mascot is, stuff like that. So that's usually how I pick rebuild teams, or I usually pick one of the worst teams in the game, but they're not bad. They're a 68 overall, and they've got a lot of seniors on their team, which will be good because that means that next year I will basically have a brand new team and a brand new start to the season. Kind of the recruits I pick will mostly be mine and mostly be my starters usually. I know some of the teams they have a bunch of sophomores and stuff on it, and you don't really get to pick your team until 2 or 3 years down the road. So we're picking the South Alabama Jaguars. If you watched the first video, I hope you enjoyed it. I love making those types of videos. If you have not seen it, make sure you go ahead and go back and watch that. It will also be in the left card at the end of this video, so you can go ahead and check that out. So basically, South Alabama has not really done anything. They just started to be in the game, so there's only one season to look at. And in that season, they only had 2 wins. So we're going to try to get more than 2 wins this year. We will be playing on Heisman difficulty, so it will not just be a walk in the park. So starting off, we're basically upgrading our head coach here. We're going to give him a upgrade as scouting. Basically, everything I pick is scouting when it comes to head coach. Defensive coordinator, I try to pick stamina and injury, trying to keep our guys healthy, keep them in the game longer. And I usually try to do carrying starting out the offense so we don't fumble. I'm not sure it honestly makes that big a difference, but we can pick it, so we'll go ahead and do it. So as I said, JOHNJAKE is going to be playing as UMass, so make sure you go over to watch his channel. He will be releasing a video every single Friday, just like me. We will be releasing it at exactly the same time. So make sure you check out his video as well as mine every Friday at about 6 p.m. Eastern. So our best guy on our team is Rob Davis. Guy, just looking at him, he's a 79 overall. But as I said earlier, I have a bunch of seniors, and he is one of them. The 73 speed kind of doesn't allow me to run my offense like I normally do. So we'll have to kind of play around with the offense. Going to be a lot more passing this year instead of those option runs. Our halfback is a junior. We have 2 juniors starting out, and then we have a freshman, Tyson Rawls, who I think will probably be one of the starters in next year or the year before. So we're probably going to go ahead and end up redshirting him, but we'll have to find out. Fullbacks, we got a couple of them. Wide receivers, we got a senior, Tony Cossey, our best wide receiver. Then we have Andy Herring at a junior wide receiver. So we got a bunch of older guys. Terrence Davidson, also a junior. And then Mike Simpson is a senior. So just like that, most of our wide receivers are juniors, seniors. Then we come up with a sophomore in Hubbard and a freshman in Paris. Tight ends, we got a senior and a junior and then a freshman. So the freshman is already redshirted, so he might see some playing time this year. Try to boost those stats for next year since we're losing our top tight end. Left tackle is a 78, which is a good thing. Left guard is a 70, so that left side will probably be used most for running. We also got a left guard that's a freshman. That's a 67, which is not bad. At center, we have a 72 overall senior and a 69 overall freshman. So our freshmen aren't looking too bad when it comes to our team looking into the future. Right guard is 73, which isn't too bad. The right tackle, I believe, though, needs a little bit of upgrades. So right tackle needs a little bit of an upgrade, 69 overall, and then a 67 overall junior. So we don't have much at the right tackle position. Probably be something we look for when we recruit. Left end, 73 overall, pretty good. We got again, just older guys. Right end, same thing, a senior 72, a junior 66, and then we have a younger sophomore at 64. Defensive tackle led by our senior, Jeremy Cohen, one of our top guys, and Jim Curry, also a senior, Bill Thomas, a junior, and a sophomore, Adam Harris, to fill out the spots. Josh Brown at our left outside linebacker, he again is a senior. His backup is also a senior, and then a sophomore, Conley, down below. Same thing with middle linebacker, another senior. He is our impact guy, Jermaine Cleveland, probably going to be using a lot of him at middle linebacker. Then we got his backup as a senior, and then his backup is a junior, and then another senior. So middle linebacker will be something we definitely go after when recruiting. Andre Cole at right outside linebacker, 73 overall, junior to right, and then a senior in Bush. So again, all linebacker positions we need a bunch of. Kendrick Marshall starting out. Our corners is a senior, Otis a senior, McDonald a senior. Finally getting down to Ruffin, and he is only a junior. Then we have Mark Smith, who is a freshman. Going to our free safety spot, Brandon Simpson is a junior, so we'll have him for another year. So we'll look pretty good there as a 75. Strong safety, Randall Burton, 73. Then junior Byers, and then a freshman, Jay Lewis. Our kicker is a freshman, which is good. He's also a 74, so that's not bad. I love power kickers, and he is a power kicker, so not bad there. And then our punter is a senior, so we'll have to look for one of those in recruiting. So we're going over the red shirt. We're going to red shirt Schneider. We're going to red shirt Tyson Rawls, as I said earlier. I honestly think next year he'll probably be our starter, hoping his speed goes up a little bit, but probably going to be our starter next year. Going to the wide receivers, we're only going to redshirt one, Paris, because we don't have many wide receivers. If we have injuries, then we won't have them available because they're redshirted. So we're going to go ahead and redshirt just one wide receiver. All the way over to the right guard, we're going to redshirt that junior, keep him for another year, which will be good. Same thing at defensive tackle, junior for another year. Left outside linebacker, McNamara, we're going to redshirt him as a freshman since both of our outside linebackers are seniors. We're going to go ahead and go over to the middle linebackers. Nash, we're going to try to redshirt him, keep him for another year. Same thing with the outside linebackers, redshirt. Corners, we're going to redshirt both of the freshmen. We can't redshirt that junior and Ruffin because we basically need more corners. Then we're going to redshirt that strong safety. And those will be the red shirts for this year. Now, to the most important part, and that is setting up our recruiting board. So we are a one-star team, so we're not looking for these huge impact recruits. And to be honest with you, if we can find an impact recruit, or if we can find someone that is very, very good, then our team will pretty much be set. I mean, it only really takes one player when you're a one-star team. It only takes one really, really good player to basically take your team to the next level. So looking at quarterbacks, we want scrambling quarterbacks because those are going to be the quarterbacks that are going to run our offenses. So a 4.62 40 is not bad for a quarterback. I would like it a little faster, but 4.62 is not bad for a quarterback. Doesn't look like we have any halfbacks or fullbacks that want to come. Wide receivers, we have a few. We have Fernandez, who we are second on his list. He runs a 4.50, which isn't awful, but the guy below him in Seth Harris runs a 4.42, so we're going to definitely add him to our recruiting. He is second overall, locked 20%, so we're going to go ahead and add him, try to pick him up as well. 4.58 isn't awful when it comes to a 40. However, he's not going to be a speed wide receiver, which is what we're really looking for. And to make our team better, I think speed is going to be the way to go. That's usually how I make our teams better, is I bring in more speed guys that kind of help us boost how our team is playing. I run a lot of option, I run a lot of screens, those types of things. So fast players is what we're looking for, especially when we're looking at quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. So picking these guys basically based on what they're doing in the 40. When we get to the linemen, we'll look at different things, but right now we're looking kind of for fast guys, whether or not they're first interest to us or second or third or even worse. We're still looking for fast guys because fast guys like Rollins here, JUCO, sophomore speed, 4.42. Normally I would try to pick him up, but we're going to wait later and see if we have room to try to go after him later on in the recruiting. So looking at what we need 2 wide receivers, we need 1 center, and 2 defensive tackles, 1 middle linebacker, 1 corner, and 1 punter. Now, I will be filling in other spots that I think we need people at, but those are at least the ones that they think we need. So we're going to go ahead and try to add everyone we can in those categories. That way we make for sure that we get someone to fill those spots. So going over to tackle, as I said, we really need a better right tackle, and I think that we could find a freshman that could possibly come in his freshman year and start. I think Fitzpatrick is a guy that can. I look at his bench press, 455, and his squat is 610, which is really, really good for a 3-star. So we go ahead and add him. He will be one of our top recruits we go after. Going on to the guards, same thing. We're looking at the bench press and squat. We're not really looking at 40 speeds because your linemen don't need to be fast. They just need to be able to block people, and the stronger they are with bench press, the stronger they are with squatting, the better. So adding people based on that. Same thing with defensive tackle. Yes, the 40 speed is sometimes good, but when it comes to what they actually need and what they're actually good at, we need to look at their bench press and squat. So when I'm picking people, I'm picking them based on their interest. I'd look for usually top 3 guys. That kind of fluctuates in and out. But I usually look for top 3 guys, and then I look at what they need at their positions. So the bigger guys need a higher bench press and a higher squat. The guys that are fast, like the wide receivers, halfbacks, quarterbacks, you need to look at their 40 time. So on to defensive tackle, same thing, looking at bench press and squat. This guy's bench pressing 350, 560 squat, so pretty big. He is fifth overall, but we're going to go ahead and add him. Going down the line, we got a guy that's a 2, and he's at a 335 and 555 squat, so that's pretty good as well. Going further down, those both were 3 stars, which I think we could probably get a few 3 stars, but I wouldn't expect us to be locking all these 3 stars down. So we're going to have to look further down to try to make sure we can fill all of those spots we need. Going over to the outside linebacker, there's a few really good outside linebackers that I think will make a big impact. One of them being Walker. He's pretty good. I mean, looking at his 40, he's pretty quick. His bench press was fine. His squat was fine. So go ahead and add him. Going to add a few other guys here as well. The 40 for the linebackers, you need to look at. If it's above like 4.8 or above 5, they're not someone you're probably going to go after. Now, you could use them in different spots. If it's a middle linebacker, you can kind of shy away from that 40 time. But as an outside linebacker, it's really hard to pick a guy that's kind of slower because he's going to have to cover tight ends. He's going to have to cover running backs out of the backfield, sometimes wide receivers in the slot. So you want to make sure that you have an outside linebacker that can kind of keep up with them. They're not going to run 4.2s. They're not going to run even 4.4s. But you saw there I picked up a guy that runs a 4.5, 4.40, so that's pretty quick. Going over to the middle linebackers, again, your 40 time isn't as big as a problem. You're mostly wanting him to just be a tank and, just bully everyone. So that's why we added Heron. He has a 425 bench press, which is huge, and then a 535 squat, which is huge. A few of these guys doing 555s and a 570 squat. That's why we added him. 570 squat is huge, so he's going to be able to kind of bull rush himself into the backfield. Going over to our corners, we need a few of these guys, and now the corner spot is someone where you're going to look for the 40 times. You see this guy at a 460. He is a 3-star, but a 460, he is going to be ran all over. People are going to run all over him. So And I also look at the bench press here, and not so much the squat, but the bench press, because if they're a bigger corner, then they can kind of get beat and still not have an issue with the 40 time. Safeties, basically you want a decent 40 time, but you're looking at mostly how big they are and how big they can hit. Going on to the kickers, we don't have any punters that want to come to our school, so we're going to go ahead and try to pick up a kicker here. We don't have any athletes that want to come to our school, but don't worry, we will address that next week. I always have a plan when it comes to picking up athletes, and you might be thinking to yourself, well, you only picked up one quarterback. What happens if you don't get him? Well, I have a plan for next week, and I will share that with you in next week's video. But to finish off this week's video, we're going to go ahead and scout the players that we picked. Wide receiver, we're going to check and see how they're doing right now. They both lose overall, so that's not a good start. Cox actually gains 1 overall. Now, this is just 25% scouting, so this will increase. We will 100% scout. Pretty much everybody that I pick will end up being 100% scouted by the end of the year. Same thing with, we're just trying to look for those big impact players. Paul Hall went from a 59 to a 64, so he went up 5, which is really good. Defensive ends, we're looking at them. They both drop a tad. Defensive tackle David Johnson stays at a 70, and that is an impact player that could make an impact next year as a freshman. So players that are close to that 70 range are going to be the ones that we really, really want to spend all of that time and all of the points on. Going to the outside linebackers, we need a few good ones, so we're going to look at a bunch of them, scouting them 25%. Will Haran stays at a 71. He's going to be another guy that we want for next year. Going to the safeties and corners, we're going to look at a couple corners here. We have a few points left. Chase Davis doesn't go anywhere, stays at a 66. Going down, it looks like we have some decent corners. We scout a few. Underwood drops down 1. So that's going to be the scouting for this week. Again, if you are watching this episode, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below on if you liked this episode, if you enjoyed it, if you want to see more episodes like this. Next week's episode will have gameplay as we go into the week 1. Again, I'm doing a collab with JOHNJAKE Gaming, so make sure you go check him out. If you have not watched the first episode, make sure you go ahead and watch that. It's a very cool hype video. Until next time, Slacker out.